Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Young master, I've finished, Ku'er said, in a refined and gentle voice. After finishing the last piece of dim sum, the young girl drank the last sip of soybean milk. Then she looked at the youth with a delicate and touching expression. Okay, let's head to the marketplace to get some things before heading home. The youth faintly smiled as he picked up his sheathed sword from the table. The young girl meekly nodded, following behind the youth. Under the gazes of everyone present, they slowly walked down the second floor of the Agarwood restaurant. He's really unafraid of death. Noticing Duan Ling Tian leaving, Chun Mei Er brought along her servant girl and followed suit, leaving behind her leftovers. The remaining guests on the second floor stood as well and followed behind Chun Mei Er. Wanting to watch a scene was human nature. At the front door of the Agarwood restaurant stood Fong Quan and the three Fong family youths who were fiercely glaring at the restaurant. They seemed to be waiting for something. It's been so long and he still hasn't come out. He can't be planning to be a coward, right? Che, wasn't he acting all brave earlier? But he cowers the moment Brother Fong Quan gets here. What a pu **** why? He's coming. Before the third youth could even open his mouth and continue mocking Duan Ling Tian, they noticed the couple walking slowly out of the restaurant. Even though they were enemies, they couldn't stop themselves from sighing in their hearts. What a match made in heaven. Of course, their gaze towards the youth was filled with jealousy. I didn't expect you to be daring enough to come out. Fong Quan looked towards the youth as he sneered, speaking in a condescending manner. Why wouldn't I dare to come out? It's only a mad dog and 3 handicapped smaller mad dogs blocking my way. The youth smiled indifferently with a carefree expression, seeming to look down upon Fong Quan. This guy dares to enrage Fong Quan even in this situation. Isn't he afraid Fong Quan will really kill him? Chen Mei Er stood at the front of the crowd that followed Duan Ling Tian out. Watching him provoke Fong Quan caused her expression to unconsciously freeze. The other people in the crowd had the same thoughts as Chen Mei Er, but their gazes were filled with pity. What a dumb little kid. I, Fong Quan, will tell you right here right now. You will certainly die today. After being thoroughly enraged by the youth, Fong Quan's eyes flashed coldly as he clenched his fists and the muscles on his body bulged slightly. As a 6th-level body-tempering martial artist, he was capable of exerting 1,000 pounds of strength. There are plenty of people who want me dead, but I'm afraid you're not capable of killing me. Duan Ling Tian smiled indifferently while grasping his sword in one hand and holding Ku'er's hand in the other. He slowly walked out as if nothing was happening. What's he doing? Noticing Duan Ling Tian bringing the young girl into the battle, everyone was struck dumb with puzzled expressions. Don't tell me he thinks Fong Quan would show mercy due to the young girl's presence? In front of the window on the 3rd floor of the Agarwood restaurant. What an interesting kid. I wonder where he comes from. Not mentioning anything else, just his courage and composure are far superior to that of people of the same age. Manager Ma looked at the youth with an intrigued expression. The coldness in Fong Quan's gaze increased, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. His thoughts were exactly similar to everyone else's. He assumed that Duan Ling Tian was bringing the young girl into the battle on purpose, hoping he would be scrupled and show mercy. But would he? The answer was no. Die! Fong Quan abruptly shouted as he stomped his feet on the ground. He burst forth with the strength of a 6th-level body-tempering martial artist with the help of 1,000 pounds of strength. He flew like a cannonball straight towards Duan Ling Tian. His fists exploded towards Duan Ling Tian, going straight for Duan Ling Tian's chest. Middle-grade yellow-rank martial skill, Raging Bull Fist. Hearing the wind shrieking by his ears, the sneer on Fong Quan's face grew wider. It was as if he could see Duan Ling Tian being blasted away and dying from severe injuries. In the instant that Fong Quan attacked, everyone in the crowd's hearts were in their mouths. The 3 Fong family youths had expressions filled with pleasure and satisfaction. You dared to touch us, so go die. This guy. Chun Mei Er frowned. Although the youth was rude to her from beginning until the end, somehow, in her heart, she didn't hate him one bit. Instead, She was curious about him and wanted to get to know him. Stop. Eventually, Chun Mei stepped forward, desiring to stop Fong Quan. But her reaction was still too late. Fong Quan's fists, which were just like cannonballs, were just about to strike Duan Ling Tian. At this moment, even if Fong Quan wanted to stop, it was too late. Not to mention he had no intention of stopping. Ku relax your body. Duan Ling Tian's mouth moved slightly as he warned the young girl. Then his left hand embraced her slender waist and his body moved. Fully exhibiting the flexibility he had gained from cultivating the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's Spirit Serpent form, he carried the young girl along as he dodged Fong Quan's fist strike. Fong Quan's fists brushed past Duan Ling Tian's clothes. Whoosh! Clang! Practically in the same moment, the sound of a sword being drawn and returning to its sheath sounded. In the next moment, everyone present clearly saw. The eyes of Fong Quan, whose body was being carried by inertia, abruptly dimmed. His hands tightly gripped his throat, but he was unable to stop the blood from spraying. In the end, he could not hold on any longer, so his body crashed towards the ground, lifeless. Silence. The area outside of Agarwood Restaurant's main door was deathly silent. Everyone's gazes were on the lifeless Fong Quan. The dignified Fong Family Medicine Store's junior manager, a 6th-level body-tempering martial artist, died just like this? Moreover, the one who did it was obviously not even 16. Hiss, 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 hiss. For a moment, the sound of people drawing in breaths of cold air sounded throughout the area around the Agarwood Restaurant's main door. The gazes of everyone present moved from Fong Quan's lifeless body to the youth that was gradually walking farther away. The youth embraced the young girl while holding the sheathed sword, leaving coolly, killing a man in 10 steps, unstoppable for 1,000 miles. 1. Suddenly, everyone heard the voice of the leaving youth. 3 kids of the Fong family, if you still can't let it go, you can look for me at the Li family. Right? Remember my name so you don't look for the wrong person. I'm Duan Ling Tian. The voice was dull, as if killing someone was nothing to him. I'm Duan Ling Tian. The youth's voice entered everyone's ears. It was not the first time they had heard this name. Half a month ago, this name spread across the entire Fresh Breeze town. That disciple with another surname of the Li family was called Duan Ling Tian. So he's Duan Ling Tian? The Duan Ling Tian that half a month ago declared that he would visit the Fong family and take the Fong family's manager's, Fong Chang's, life? It should be him. I didn't expect him to be so formidable. I didn't even see how he attacked when Fong Quan's throat had already been sliced open in a single strike. His speed is too fast. I noticed that his cultivation is only at the 4th level of the body tempering stage, but killing a 6th level body tempering martial artist was as easy as cutting grass to him. The crowd could not stop themselves from discussing. The tone of their voices were filled with fear. It appeared that the declaration that this disciple with another surname of the Li family made half a month ago was not him being arrogant and conceited, but he actually had the confidence. Duan Ling Tian. Carry brother Quan back to the manager. We have to get an explanation about this matter from the Li family. They gnashed their teeth as they said this. The fear in the eyes of the 3 youths didn't dissipate for a very long time. Carrying Fong Quan's corpse, they headed towards the Fong family marketplace. Duan Ling Tian? So he is Duan Ling Tian? After Chen Mei recovered from the shock, a mischievous smile emerged on her face. As far as she was concerned, as long as Duan Ling Tian was a member of the Li family, she would eventually be able to see Duan Ling Tian again, and she would slowly get even with him. Come, let's go home. Chun Mei said to the servant girl before walking with her towards the Chun family marketplace. The crowd surrounding the Agarwood restaurant's main door gradually dispersed, but they never stopped their discussion. The topic of their discussions revolved around the other surnamed junior of the Li family, Duan Ling Tian. Before, they had heard of his name but had never seen him in person. But from this moment onwards, they had seen him in person and even seen his skills. Relying on his 4th level body tempering cultivation, with a single sword strike, he killed the 6th level body tempering martial artist, Fong Quan. A truly astonishing feat. If it was just a rumor, they might not have believed it. But after seeing it with their own eyes, they couldn't help but believe. He is the Li family's Duan Ling Tian? In the third floor of the Agarwood restaurant, Manager Ma's eyes flashed brightly. That sword strike of his was unbelievably fast. By relying merely on his fourth-level body tempering cultivation, he can already achieve such a speed. If he can step into the seventh level of the body tempering stage in the next 2 months, killing the Fong family's manager, Fong Chong, won't be impossible anymore. But to progress from the fourth level of the body tempering stage to the seventh level in only 2 months is practically an impossible feat. Although I've only met him once, I can tell that he isn't the sort of person who would seek his own doom. Since he dares to challenge the Fong family's manager, it must be because he is confident. Now I'm slightly looking forward to it. Li Family Marketplace. Duan Ling spent some silver coins to buy materials from the Li Family Weapon Store and the Medicine Store before returning to the Li Family estate with Ku Air. After obtaining these materials, he felt much more at ease. Fong Chong, in 3 months, you will certainly die. A grim fire jumped about inside Duan Ling Tian's eyes as the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Young master, are you all right? Noticing his sinister expression, Ku Air looked over with a worried expression. I'm fine. Ku Air, what happened earlier in front of the Agarwood restaurant didn't frighten you, right? Duan Ling Tian shook his head slightly and kneaded the young girl's palm while he gently asked this. Young master didn't allow Ku Air to look back, so Ku Air wasn't frightened. The young girl shook her head. Good. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Although he wanted to temper Ku Air, he didn't plan to expose her to such a bloody scene straight away. Everything requires an order to proceed gradually. If he tried to temper her in one shot, it would unavoidably cause some complications, even to the extent that it may cause Ku Air to suffer from trauma that would be difficult to treat. This was something that Duan Ling Tian was unwilling to let happen. They arrived at the Li family estate. Young master, because you did that to the Fong family member, nothing will happen, right? As the young girl looked at the youth beside her, an expression of worry emerged on her immature and delicate face. Ku Air, don't worry. Nothing will happen. You saw what happened. It wasn't my fault. If he didn't force me by saying he would kill me, I wouldn't have killed him. The youth shook his head and laughed. As the formidable weapon specialist from his previous life, he had his own set of rules. If someone does not offend me, then I will not offend them. But if someone offends me, then I will return it 10-fold, 100-fold, or even 1,000-fold. The instant Fong Quan threatened to kill him, Duan Ling Tian saw Fong Quan as a dead man walking. Tian, what did you do to the Fong family members this time? Duan Ling Tian and Ku Air had just entered the house when they saw Li Ro walking towards them. Mom, it's nothing. Duan Ling Tian smiled faintly as he said this. He knew that his mother had overheard him speaking to Ku Air. Tell me the truth. Li Ro frowned. Her clear eyes narrowed into the shape of a crescent moon. It was obvious that she was not easy to fool. It's really nothing. It was just one of the Fong family members being naive, threatening to kill me. Duan Ling Tian embarrassedly touched his nose as he slowly said this. Who is so brave to actually dare to threaten to kill my son? He wasn't even able to finish his sentence before Li Ro flew off the handle. Rage emerged from her eyes, and her voice sounded slightly icy cold. I think he was the Fong Family Medicine Store's junior manager, a guy called Fong Quan. But I've already taken care of him, so you don't need to worry, Mom. Duan Ling Tian lightly smiled. Fong Quan? Fong Tao's son? Li Ro frowned. She quickly remembered that this Fong Quan was the son of the Fong Family Medicine Store's manager, Fong Tao. Although his natural talent in the martial Dao was only average, he was still a young man barely over the age of 20. For someone at his age to hold a grudge against her only 15-year-old son, and even threatening to kill her son. For a time, an unending wave of rage arose in her heart. Tian, he didn't injure you, right? Li Ro glanced at Duan Ling Tian from head to toe, asking with deep concern. The manner at which she spoke made it clear that if Duan Ling Tian was injured, she would go get even with Fong Quan. Mom, There isn't even a scratch on me. If you don't believe me, you can ask Ku Er. He didn't even touch me. Duan Ling Tian's heart felt warm as he shook his head. Li Ro looked towards Ku Er, who instantly started nodding like a chick pecking on grain. At the beginning, she too was worried that the young master might suffer a loss. But in the end, even though she didn't look back, she was faintly aware of what happened to the Fong family member. Now that she thought about it again, the young girl's delicate face turned slightly pale. She was obviously frightened. "Kr, why does your face look so bad? Are you sick?" Li Ro asked with a concerned expression when she noticed the young girl's pale face. She had long ago regarded Ku Er as her future daughter-in-law, so her concern for Ku Er was no less than that of her son. The young girl lightly shook her head, her expression easing up. "Come, I'll carry you back to your room to rest." Seeing his mom carry the young girl to her room, Duan Ling Tian's eyes slightly narrowed. In his opinion, Ku Er having this sort of reaction was normal. After all, she wasn't the same as him. To him, someone who had once lived a life filled with bloodshed and battle, murder was an ordinary occurrence. The feeling of taking another's life was something he had long ago become numb towards. After putting the materials in his room, Duan Ling Tian greeted his mother before going out. He went to see Grand Elder Li Hua. "Kid, I don't think now is the time of our appointment. What did you come see me for?" Li Hua's eyes narrowed as he looked at Duan Ling Tian while he asked this. "Grand Elder, I've come to request your help in refining some medicinal pills." Duan Ling Tian stated his purpose. "Oh, what medicinal pill do you want?" Li Hua laughed. "The Thunder Flame pill." Duan Ling Tian's gaze became focused as he slowly said this. "Kid, although the Thunder Flame pill is a type of body-tempering stage medicinal pill, it's much more valuable and rare. Moreover, I've only ever heard of the Thunder Flame pill, and I don't have the method to refine one." Li Hua's expression dulled for a moment before he started laughing bitterly. "Grand Elder, if I give you the medicinal formula, would you be able to refine one?" Duan Ling Tian asked with a smile. He made nothing of what Li Hua had said. You're willing to give me the Thunder Flame pill's medicinal formula?" Lu Hua's breathing started becoming short and rapid. As an alchemist, what he desired the most was the chance to refine various types of medicinal pills so he could gain experience and thus advance his skill in medicine refinement. Even though he was a grade 9 alchemist, the number of medicinal pills he was capable of refining was extremely limited. "Yes." Duan Ling Tian nodded. "Your teacher is allowing you to pass down the Thunder Flame pill's medicinal formula to me?" Li Hua took a deep breath as he asked this. "My teacher said that all of the medicinal formulas that he passed down to me are mine and that I can do as I please with them. Moreover, the Thunder Flame pill isn't really rare. There are quite a few alchemists around the Cloud Continent who know how to refine one." Duan Ling Tian lightly smiled. "Not really rare?" After hearing what Duan Ling Tian said, the corners of Li Hua's mouth twitched. Although quite a few alchemists knew how to refine the Thunder Flame pill, which alchemist wasn't the type to cherish things of little value simply because it was their own. Even if they could write down the medicinal formula of the Thunder Flame pill, they would still be unwilling to share it with others. Even in the larger cities outside of Fresh Breeze Town, the Thunder Flame pill's medicinal formula was priceless. The Thunder Flame pill is a medicinal pill exclusive to body-tempering martial artists. Once consumed, the body will have to endure the pain of thunder and flames bursting forth within the body, thus stimulating the body's potential. If consumed together with a body-tempering pill, the speed of cultivation would even increase to twice the speed of only consuming body-tempering pills. "Kid, thank you." Li Hua abruptly stood up and bowed deeply towards Duan Ling Tian. To an alchemist, the medicinal formula to a rare medicinal pill was more important than their lives. "Grand Elder, there's no need to act this way. I'm only passing down the medicinal formula to you due to selfish reasons. I want to request your help in refining some Thunderflame pills. We are each taking what we need." Duan Ling Tian's sword-shaped eyebrows twitched as he slowly said this. "You can't think of it that way. Refining a Thunder Flame pill will only consume a small amount of origin energy and vigor. My contribution is incomparable to yours." Li Hua shook his head. As far as he was concerned, The value of the Thunder Flame Pill's medicinal formula was too huge. If it could be used by the Li family disciples, the Li family suppressing the Fong family, and the Qin family could happen in the near future. If Grand Elder still feels it difficult to accept my proposition, you can always give me some silver. Duan Ling Tian quirked his eyebrows and faintly smiled. Kid, you really care for nothing but money. Don't worry, I'll speak to the patriarch about this matter. At that time, you'll get your share of silver. Li Hua jokingly scolded. He was puzzled in his heart. Why did this kid love money so much? If Duan Ling Tian knew of Li Hua's opinion of him, he would surely give him a disdainful look. From the memories of Rebirth Martial Emperor, Duan Ling Tian knew that regardless of it being medicine refinement, weapon crafting, or inscriptions, they were professions that virtually burned through money. Since he was only at the body tempering stage now, the expenses weren't high for the moment. But once he breaks through to the core formation stage and develops his origin energy, he will need to start refining medicine and crafting weapons. At that time, the materials will cost hefty sums. They could even be considered a bottomless pits. Besides weapon crafting and medicine refinement, the inscriptions that require origin energy to assist in the engraving will also require various rare materials. After writing down the medicinal formula of the Thunder Flame Pill and passing it to Grand Elder Li Hua, Duan Ling Tian said his farewells and took his leave. On the way out, he didn't forget to remind Li Hua, Grand Elder, I'll be counting on you to get the materials for the Thunder Flame Pill. I've been really poor recently, so I really can't afford those materials. Duan Ling Tian fled as soon as he finished speaking, only leaving his gradually receding figure to the stunned Li Hua. This kid took 1,000 silver from me yesterday, but he still cries poor. This kid isn't old, but he is so shameless. Li Hua grinned and jokingly scolded after Duan Ling Tian finally vanished from his sight. After leaving Grand Elder's Li Hua's residence, Duan Ling Tian went straight back home. He closed himself off inside his room and arranged the materials he had bought with Ku Er earlier. Duan Ling Tian prepared these materials to conduct inscriptions. The paralyzation inscription Duan Ling Tian used to defeat Li Jia was only effective on martial artists below the 7th level of the body tempering stage, so using it on a martial artist above that level was no different than tickling them. This time Duan Ling Tian planned to inscribe a different inscription as a preventive measure. If he can't kill Fong Chong in 2.5 months by relying only on his own strength, then he will use this inscription as assistance to take Fong Chong's life. Fong Chong, even if you're a 9th level body tempering martial artist, I will certainly kill you. Remembering what happened the day Fong Qian injured him in the Li family's audience hall, a surging rage arose inside Duan Ling Tian's chest, and he was unable to subside it for a long time. He and Fong Chong were like fire and ice, so as long as Fong Chong was alive, his heart would never feel at ease. Just when Duan Ling Tian was about to conduct inscriptions, Tian, Li Ro's hurried voice sounded from outside. Duan Ling Tian's heart jerked. He was faintly able to guess what happened. The corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. The Fong family's response is really quite fast, but they still have the nerve to come here, so they must really have thick skin. Mom, you're looking for me? Duan Ling Tian pushed open his door and walked out. Li Ro took a deep breath. Since the Fong family's 3rd elder arrived and said that her son had killed Fong Quan, her mood started to become agitated, and even now she still had not calmed down. Fong Quan was a 6th level body tempering martial artist. Killed by her son? Her son, Duan Ling Tian, who had only broken through to 4th level body tempering stage this morning. After a quick inquiry, Li Ro became aware of the sequence of events from Duan Ling Tian. Likewise, she was made aware of the circumstances at which Duan Ling Tian killed Fong Quan, unexpectedly only using a single sword strike. A 4th level body tempering martial artist killing a 6th level body tempering martial artist, slicing the throat open with a single sword strike. Li Ro deeply understood how fearsome her son's sword-drawing arts were. Tian, why didn't you let Mom know of such a huge matter? With a slightly displeased expression, Li Ro stared angrily at the youth. Mom, you didn't ask me. The Fong family members have come, right? Duan Ling Tian smiled embarrassedly. Yes, the Fong family's third elder, Fong Xing, and the Fong family medicine store manager, Fong Tao, have come together. They are urging the patriarch to hand you over to them. Tian, don't worry. Since we are in the right, not to mention only two of them have come, even if the Fong family's patriarch, Fong Yi, comes in person, he can't do anything to you. Li Ro gave Duan Ling Tian a shot in the arm. But she quickly realized that Duan Ling Tian did not seem the least bit worried. He was even more composed than her. She seemed to have thought of something, so her willow-shaped eyebrows frowned and her heart started. This should be the first time Tian has killed someone, but why do you seem so tranquil? After taking a deep breath, Li Ro spoke of the doubt in her heart. Her eyes were staring fixedly at her son's eyes, as if trying to discern something. Mom, it's not the first time I've killed someone. Duan Ling Tian had prepared long ago, so he didn't bat an eye as he lightly smiled. When did you kill another person prior to today? Why doesn't Mom know about it? Li Ro's willow leaf-shaped eyebrows raised up as she asked curiously. Mom, prior to today, I've killed people in my dreams, and quite a few at that. It was part of the training regimen the old man in my dreams prepared for me. I can still remember when I first killed a man in my dreams. I felt extremely scared and even vomited, explained Duan Ling Tian. A dream again. Although Li Ro didn't quite believe what her son said, she had no idea how to explain the changes that occurred to him. It looks like the old man in your dreams really looks after you. Tian, let's go to the audience hall. The patriarch is waiting. After taking a deep breath, Li Ro stopped trying to get to the bottom of it. Duan Ling Tian nodded and followed his mother to the Li family's audience hall. Brother Ninfeng, I hope you've been well. The moment they approached the Li family's audience hall, they heard a hearty laughter coming from within. Chunli? What's he doing here? After hearing the voice, Li Ro felt it to be quite odd. But she soon noticed the bitter smile on the corners of her son's mouth. Tian, don't tell me you offended the Chen family as well? Li Ro's heart skipped a beat. The Chen family's patriarch paying a visit at this time made her suspect him. Duan Ling Tian embarrassedly told her about the conflict between him and the Chen family's eldest daughter, Chen Mei-er. So it turns out to be just a trivial matter. There's no way Chun-Li would pay a visit just to accuse you of such a trivial matter, so he must have come on some other business. Li Ro heaved a sigh of relief. She was worried that her son had actually killed one of the Qin family's members as well. Duan Ling Tian walked slowly behind Li Ro and entered the audience hall, whereupon he noticed a slightly strange atmosphere. Humph! Two middle-aged men brushed past Duan Ling Tian, leaving the Li family's audience hall. Their fierce gazes seemed as if they were trying to tear Duan Ling Tian apart. Patriarch this? Li Ro looked towards the patriarch Li Nanfeng with a puzzled expression. Before she went to get her son, the two Fong family members wished that Duan Ling Tian would pay with his life. But when her son finally arrived, they actually left without saying a word. This is all thanks to Mei-er. She guessed that the Fong family would visit our Li family to denounce Duan Ling Tian's crimes, so the Chen family's patriarch brought her here to bear witness. She was there when Duan Ling Tian killed Fong Quan. Since it was Fong Quan who provoked him, Duan Ling Tian is not guilty. Li Nanfeng laughed loudly. Thank you, Miss Mei-er. Li Ro looked towards the young girl, lightly smiling. Tian, it's all thanks to Miss Mei-er this time. Why aren't you thanking her? Li Ro looked towards Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flickered as he glanced at Chen Mei-er with an intrigued expression, wondering why she helped him. Thank you, Miss Mei-er. Since it was his mother who asked, even though he didn't want to, he had to at least keep up appearances. You're welcome. Chen Mei-er blinked her clear eyes as she smiled beautifully like a flower. Compared to the unruly eldest daughter in the Agarwood restaurant earlier, she was like a completely different person now. Mei-er is so cultured. Patriarch Chen, you've given her such a good upbringing. Li Nanfeng faintly smiled towards the middle-aged man beside Chen Mei-er. The middle-aged man was indeed the Chen family's patriarch, Chun-Li. Chun-Li shook his head as he smiled, his gaze falling on Duan Ling Tian. How could my daughter compare to your Li family's Duan Ling Tian, who has such formidable strength at such a young age? Once he grows up, I'm afraid he will have no equal in the entire Fresh Breeze town. Ninth Elder, may I ask if your son has any marriage arrangements? Subsequently, Chunli looked towards Li Ro. The moment Chunli finished his sentence, Li Ro, Duan Ling Tian, and Li Nanfeng were all struck dumb. The three of them subconsciously looked towards Chen Mei. Upon noticing her blushing cheeks, they instantly guessed Chun Li's intentions. Chun Mei couldn't have fallen for me, right? Duan Ling Tian's heart stirred. He could not believe what was happening. This morning in Agarwood restaurant, he and Chen Mei were like fire and ice. Even if women were capricious, they shouldn't be capricious to this extent. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian noticed his mother gazing at him with a mischievous expression. But at the same time, her gaze felt as if she was inquiring his opinion. With a helpless expression, Duan Ling Tian shook his head. Patriarch Chen, unfortunately, I just decided upon a wife for my son a short while ago. Li Ro looked at Chun-Li with an apologetic expression. That's unfortunate. Patriarch Li, Ninth Elder, little brother Duan, my daughter and I have fulfilled the purpose of our trip, so we will be taking our leave now. Chun-Li nodded as he left with Chen Mei. When Chen Mei was leaving, she glanced at Duan Ling Tian with a bitter gaze. Her face was gloomy. Ninth Elder, why didn't I know about you deciding upon a wife for Duan Ling Tian? Li Nanfeng looked towards Li Ro with a puzzled expression. Patriarch, Ku is the wife I decided upon. A heartfelt smile appeared on Li Ro's face when she spoke of Ku. What she said caused Duan Ling Tian to be astounded. In his heart he thought, if Ku heard what Mom said, she would certainly be too embarrassed to show her face. So that's how it is. They are indeed a perfect match. Li Nanfeng smiled as he nodded. Ninth Elder, Grand Elder wanted to see me before the two Fong family members arrived. I've already delayed for some time, so I will be taking my leave. Seeing Li Nanfeng taking his leave, a smile emerged on Duan Ling Tian's face. He knew the reason that Grand Elder wanted to see the Patriarch. I hope the Patriarch isn't too stingy. Even though the Thunder Flame pill is only a low-ranked pill, its importance to the Li family is extraordinary. If the children of all the Li family elders were to consume the Thunder Flame pill and then absorb the 6 treasures body-tempering liquid, the speed of their cultivation would double. Of course, this was also the reason why Duan Ling Tian was willing to share the Thunder Flame pill medicinal formula with Li Hua. He desperately needed the Thunder Flame pills. With the help of the Thunder Flame pills, stepping into the 7th level of the body-tempering stage within the next 2.5 months wouldn't be impossible anymore. Tian, why are you smiling? I'm telling you right now, no matter what, you can't abandon Ku, or else Mom will never forgive you. Li Ro said to Duan Ling Tian seriously. Mom, what are you talking about? Duan Ling Tian laughed bitterly. What was she going on about? Tian, if you go out in the next few months, remember to tell Mom so I can go with you. Li Ro said. Mom, are you worried that the Fong family members will attack me? Duan Ling Tian guessed. Yes, neither Fong Tao nor Fong Xing are not good and honest people. I'm worried that they would secretly plot against you. Mom, Fong Quan is Fong Tao's son. Him seeking revenge against me was normal, but why would that 3rd elder of the Fong family want to go against me? Duan Ling Tian was puzzled. Tian, Fong Xing, and Fong Tao have a special relationship. He is Fong Tao's elder brother. Li Ro explained. So that's how it is. Duan Ling Tian was enlightened. He didn't expect Fong Quan to be the nephew of the Fong family's 3rd elder. It was no wonder they personally paid the Li family a visit to denounce his crimes. But the Fong family must have been aware that they were in the wrong, or else the one that came wouldn't just be the Fong family's 3rd elder, but the Patriarch too. 10 days later, Grand Elder Li Hua called Duan Ling Tian over. Duan Ling Tian gave Li Hua his last massage session, helping him to fully treat his hidden injuries before putting away the first batch of Thunder Flame pills that Li Hua refined. This batch of Thunder Flame pills had a total of 30 pills. Kid, this is the 1,000 silver that I owe you. On top of that, here is another 30,000 silver from the family. You can consider it payment for your Thunder Flame pill medicinal formula. The old man withdrew a large stack of silver bills and passed them to Duan Ling Tian. Grand Elder, thanks. Duanling Tian grabbed the silver bills from his hand. He wasn't one bit courteous. I noticed that your fleshly body has reached a threshold. It seems you should be breaking through to the 5th level of the body tempering stage soon, right? With your natural talent combined with the help of the Thunder Flame Pills, breaking through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage in the next 2 months shouldn't be impossible. At that time, relying upon your swift sword, if nothing unexpected happens, it should be enough for you to kill Fong Chong. The old man's eyes narrowed as he slowly said this. Grand Elder, you're aware of what happened? Duanling Tian was stupefied. It looked like Grand Elder was aware of what happened half a month ago. He was aware of how he relied on his 4th level body tempering strength to kill Fong Quan, who was at the 7th level of the body tempering stage. This matter isn't a secret in Fresh Breeze Town. I heard from the Patriarch half a month ago. Kid, I didn't think that you'd know how to conceal your strength so well. Looks like Li Jie being crippled by you wasn't simply his bad luck. The old man glanced deeply at Duanling Tian. I was just lucky. Duanling Tian smiled embarrassedly. After putting away the silver bills, he took his leave. It's too bad his aspirations don't lie within Fresh Breeze Town, or else it wouldn't be impossible for our Li family to unify the entire town. The old man sighed. His tone contained a hint of pity. Duanling Tian naturally didn't know how highly Grand Elder thought of him. He went straight home after leaving Grand Elder's residence. After preparing the bath barrel and some 7 treasures body tempering liquid, he took off his clothes. Then he consumed the Thunder Flame Pill. Instantly, Duanling Tian could clearly feel an aching pain throughout his entire body. The aching pain grew stronger by the moment. Hiss hiss. At this moment, Duanling Tian felt like he was being attacked by thunder and flames. The aching pain spread throughout his entire body, causing him to be unable to stop himself from letting out a low, humph sound. Luckily, being a person of 2 lifetimes, his will was incredibly tenacious, so he easily endured the pain caused by the medicinal effects of the Thunder Flame Pill. Half an hour later, Duanling Tian noticed the aching pain in his body start to dissipate. He could clearly feel that all the pores in his body had opened up, greedily absorbing the 7 treasures body tempering liquid within the bath barrel. The absorption speed was a whole 2 times faster than the previous speed. 9 dragons wore sovereign technique, spirit serpent form. As Duanling Tian greedily absorbed the 7 treasures body tempering liquid, he started to circulate his cultivation method. The lifeblood within his body continuously strengthened. His body was undergoing a metamorphosis at an alarming speed, meaning he was quickly breaking through the threshold. 5th level of the body tempering stage. Duanling Tian opened his eyes. His expression was filled with intense joy. As expected, the Thunder Flame Pill didn't disappoint him. Duanling Tian would usually need half a day to completely absorb a portion of the 7 treasures body tempering liquid. This was his limit. But thanks to the Thunder Flame Pill, with merely an afternoon's worth of time, he continuously absorbed 2 portions of the 7 treasures body tempering liquid and immediately broke through. The next day, Duanling Tian once again arrived at the Grand Elder's residence. Kid, what are you here for this time? You better not tell me you spent the 30,000 silver I gave you yesterday. Li Hua's face had an expression of vigilance the moment he saw him. Grand Elder, I'm not here to ask you for money. I actually want you to smelt this blade for me with your pill fire. Duanling Tian smiled embarrassedly. Then he withdrew the violet short sword from its sheath. This is a sword made from violet ore, right? Kid, if I use my pill fire to smelt violet ore, it would melt and be vaporized as it's only a type of common metal. Li Hua frowned. Grand Elder, are you really that confident? How about we make a bet? Duanling Tian smiled as he said this. Li Hua gave Duanling Tian a disdainful glance. He knew that this kid wouldn't do something for naught, so he wouldn't be fooled by Duanling Tian. But it did, however, rouse his interest towards the sword in Duanling Tian's hands. Could it be that he misjudged it? Li Hua quickly took the violet short sword in his hands. His origin energy condensed into a milky white pill fire, covering the short sword. After half an hour, It could clearly be seen that more than half of the metal on the short sword had been vaporized, but the violet metal that remained instead changed into liquid form. No matter how hard Li Hua tried, it was virtually impossible to vaporize it with his pill fire. At this moment, Li Hua's face was drenched in sweat. He waved his hand to put out his pill fire. Kid, is this a weapon crafting material? After all, pill fire was strong enough to be capable of vaporizing fine steel. Thus, only a weapon crafting material would be able to withstand his pill fire and not be vaporized. Yes. Duan Tian lightly nodded. Can you tell me what material this is? Li Hua took in a deep breath as he asked this. Violet meteorite. Duan Tian did not conceal the truth. What? Li Hua was shocked. Although he was only a grade 9 alchemist, he had heard of the material called violet meteorite, which was treasured by weapons craftsmen. Kid, where did you get this sword? Li Hua asked before drawing in a deep breath. From the Li family weapon store. It cost me 200 silver. Duan Tian said with a painful expression. 200 silver coins? The corners of Li Hua's mouth twitched. Such a big piece of violet meteorite for only 200 silver? If he were to let those weapon craftsmen know, they might even feel like committing suicide. Of course, Li Hua was aware that no ordinary person was capable of identifying unrefined violet meteorite. So that means that this sword was actually forged from violet meteoric iron? Li Hua inquired. I didn't expect Grand Elder to know of violet meteoric iron. Duan Tian was astonished. I saw it in some ancient books. Violet meteorite is usually hidden inside violet meteoric iron, so it's extremely difficult to be identified. Kid, how did you identify it? Li Hua glanced deeply at the youth, as if trying to see through him. Unfortunately, he was bound to be disappointed. Duan Tian smiled mysteriously, but didn't answer Li Hua. Grand Elder, I still have matters to attend to, so I'll be taking my leave. Receiving the violet meteorite from Li Hua, Duan Tian immediately left. This kid seems completely different from before, as if he's another person entirely. It must be all thanks to his grade 7 alchemist teacher. Grand Elder's murky eyes flashed with a bright light as he surmised this. Duan Tian returned from Grand Elder's residence with the violet meteorite. He arrived at his home without disturbing Ku-Er, who was cultivating in her room. He instead went to see his mother to get her to accompany him outside of the Li family estate. Tian, you want to get a blacksmith to forge this metal into 2 swords? Looking at the violet-colored metal in Duan Tian's hands, Li Ro's expression was filled with disbelief. In her opinion, the volume of this metal was only enough to forge a dagger, and a small one at that. What, Mom? You don't believe me? Duan Tian smiled. Li Ro shook her head. The pair of mother and son quickly arrived at the Li family's blacksmith store. Ninth Elder. An attendant greeted them as soon as they entered, bowing to Li Ro. Where's your manager? Li Ro nodded and subsequently asked. Haha, such a rare sight. Ninth Elder, do you need anything from my smithy? A middle-aged man walked out from inside the weapons store. The middle-aged man's laughter had a grand sound to it. He walked swiftly to stand in front of Duan Tian and his mother. This must be young Master Ling Tian, right? The middle-aged man glanced at Duan Tian as he smiled lightly. Tian, this is Manager Long of our Li family's smithy. The fine steel swords sold in the weapons store are all his works. Li Ro said to Duan Tian. Manager Long. Duan Tian smiled lightly towards the middle-aged man. Ninth Elder, you're treating me like a stranger. If you hadn't appealed to the patriarch for me all those years ago, how could I possibly still remain in the Li family? The middle-aged man said. He couldn't help himself from sighing as we took a trip down memory lane. Li Long, you don't have to mention what happened all those years ago. The reason I'm here today is because my son needs your help to forge 2 swords. Li Ro shook her head. She looked at Duan Tian as she said this. Tian, Manager Li is the best blacksmith in the entire Li family. The fine steel swords he forges are famous throughout Fresh Breeze Town, and the fine steel swords forged by the other 2 families can't even compare to his. Hearing what his mother said, Duan Ling Tian lightly nodded. Young Master Ling Tian, what sort of sword do you want to forge? Li Long asked respectfully. Manage Long, I want you to forge 2 flexible swords from this piece of metal I have here. Make them as thin as you possibly can. Duan Ling Tian revealed the fist-sized piece of violet meteorite in his hand. Flexible sword? Young Master Ling Tian, to forge a flexible sword, the material must have high levels of malleability. Forgive me, but I'm unable to recognize the metal you're holding in your hand. Li Long's eyes flashed as he said slowly this. Li Ro's willow leaf-shaped eyebrows slightly twitched and an expression of shock emerged on her beautiful face. She knew extremely well of Li Long's capabilities, but even he was incapable of identifying the material in her son's hands. Obviously, it was no common metal. Manager Long, you can go ahead and try forging it. Just make sure it comes out as thin as you can make it. Duan Ling Tian smiled. He must be kidding, right? In the entire Cloud continent, there were hardly any metals that could compete in malleability against violet meteorite. The reason that violet meteorite was a weapon crafting material pursued by many weapons craftsmen was because of its malleability. Okay, I'll give it a try. Li Long nodded as he received the violet meteorite. Even he was interested in this piece of metal that he couldn't recognize. Young Master Ling Tian, follow me to my private forge. With Li Long in the lead, Duan Ling Tian followed him into an inner chamber inside the Li family's smithy. The forge was fully equipped. On the weapons rack in the corner were many fine steel swords that shone with a cold light. Under Duan Ling Tian's gaze, Li Long quickly took off his shirt, revealing his robust upper body. He tossed the violet meteorite onto the hearth of the forge, allowing the flames to heat the metal. Li Long bent down and started pulling on the bellows, causing the fire to burn to an extreme temperature. After an hour, the violet meteorite finally showed signs of melting. Li Long heaved a sigh of relief, but he was extremely shocked in his heart. Even fine steel wouldn't need more than half an hour to become soft under this temperature. As far as he was concerned, this piece of metal was truly bizarre. Of course, it also brought him a new challenge, causing his mood to become agitated. After a moment, Li Long stood up. Grasping his hammer, the muscles and veins in his arms bulged. Clang! His hammer descended, furiously hammering on the softened violet meteorite. Instantly, the violet meteorite changed into a pile of mud. What good malleability! Li Long couldn't stop himself from exclaiming after seeing this. Young Master Ling Tian, forging 2 swords will not be a problem. Li Long looked towards the nearby youth as he lightly smiled. I'll be troubling Manager Long. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Clang! Clang! The hammer in Li Hua's hand descended time after time, quickly dividing the violent meteorite into 2. The shape of 2 swords slowly formed. Duan Ling Tian, who was watching from the corner, had a gaze of admiration when he looked at Li Long. When forging a weapon, no matter if was it pulling on the bellows to control the temperature or to temper the metal by hammering, Manager Long did it all by himself. Based entirely on this fact, it would be easy to conclude that he was an expert in forging. Maybe it was because of this that he was able to produce the best fine steel swords in Fresh Breeze Town. 2 hours later, Li Long completed the final step in the forging process, and the 2 flexible swords finally took their final forms. Through the flames, 2 swords could be seen. Their bodies were glittering and translucent, thin as a cicada's wings. Shirring, Li Long lifted his hand and withdrew a fine steel sword from the weapons rack. He swung the flexible sword to meet the fine steel sword head-on. Ka! The fine steel sword split with a sound. It was like paper to the flexible blade. What a sword! Duan Ling Tian's gaze shone. The level of Li Long's forging skill caused him to be lost in amazement. Besides the lack of ability to amplify the power of attacks, the other characteristics of these 2 swords were comparable to that of something made by a grade 9 weapons craftsman. Young Master Ling Tian, thank you. Li Long respectfully bowed to Duan Ling Tian. Manager Li, why are you acting this way? Duan Ling Tian hurriedly bowed in response. I'm grateful that young Master Ling Tian allowed me to forge such a rare metal. Until I have the chance to forge an even better material, these two swords will be my, Li Long's, greatest masterpieces. Li Long said excitedly. Every blacksmith hoped that the weapon forged by them would be the best weapon. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Duan Ling Tian swung the flexible sword made of violet meteorite like a gust of wind. The weight of the flexible sword could be totally ignored, allowing him to execute sword-drawing arts with more ease. A satisfied smile crept up on his face. With this violet meteorite flexible sword, his strength would once again go up another level. Manager Long, do you have leather sword sheaths here? The type that can be used as a belt. Duan Ling Tian looked toward Li Long as he asked. Young Master Ling Tian, if you need this type of sword sheath, I will personally make a customized one for you. Li Long smiled. His mood was elated after he successfully forged two swords that exceeded his past standards. Then I'll be troubling Manager Long again. Duan Ling Tian hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Li Long was extremely efficient. The next day, a pair of leather sword sheaths were sent over to Duan Ling Tian's home. What made these sheaths special was that Li Long infused the residual violet meteorite from forging the flexible swords into the sheaths. Thanks to this, they would avoid getting damaged from the sharp edges of the violet meteorite flexible swords when drawn. Out of the two violet meteorite flexible swords, Duan Ling Tian kept one for himself and gave the other to Ku Er. As for his mother, Duan Ling Tian had other plans in his heart. He planned to wait until his cultivation stepped into the core formation stage, whereupon he would be able to refine a spirit sword for his mother. Spirit sword, a spirit weapon long sword. Once origin energy is circulated into it, the attack power of the user is amplified. It is much more powerful than common weapons. Mom, Manager Li seems very respectful towards you. He even mentioned something about you helping him appeal to the patriarch, or else he wouldn't be able to stay in the Li family. What actually happened? In the courtyard, Duan Ling Tian asked Li Ro as he slowly kneaded her shoulders. It happened more than 10 years ago. At that time, Li Long had a secret affair with the daughter of one of the elders, accidentally making her pregnant. You can imagine what the consequences were. He was violently beaten with sticks before being tossed out of the Li family estate. After that, the elder's daughter insisted upon giving birth to the child, causing the elder to literally die of anger. She was a really pitiable person. Although she successfully gave birth to the child, she died soon after due to complications in childbirth. Seeing the child alone and uncared for, I appealed to the patriarch to allow Li Long to return to the Li family. Li Ro's clear eyes seemed to fall into a trance as she slowly said this. After hearing what Li Ro said, Duan Ling Tian finally came to understand. Never would he have expected that Li Long had such a past. When I think about it now, if I didn't appeal to the patriarch to allow him to return to the Li family, maybe he would have left Fresh Breeze Town long ago. Then our Li family would have really lost a rare talent. Li Ro laughed. Duan Ling Tian nodded. In this world, some things were really just so marvelous. Okay, hurry up and go cultivate. With the help of the Thunder Flame Pills and the speed at which you have been progressing, you still have a good chance to break through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage in the next 2 months. Li Ro said to Duan Ling Tian, urging him to return to his room and cultivate. After witnessing the formidability of her son's sword-drawing arts, as far as she was concerned, so long as her son could break through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage, he would not necessarily be unable to kill the Fong family's manager. Yes, madam. Duan Ling Tian instantly stood straight as a spear, giving his mother a military salute. Under Li Ro's stupefied gaze, he turned around and returned to his room. What was that movement Tian did? Li Ro had a puzzled expression. Maybe if she had the chance to take a tour of the earth, she would realize that the movement Duan Ling Tian made earlier was a standard military salute. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 1.5 months passed by. Crackle. At dawn, the sound of bones rubbing together sounded from inside Duan Ling Tian's room. Subsequently, the room's door was shoved open and Duan Ling Tian slowly walked out, bathing in the sunlight. half a month earlier than expected. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curved into a smile as he lightly clenched his fists and felt the boundless power within his body. Thanks to the unending assistance of the Thunder Flame Pills and the Seven Treasures Body Tempering Liquid, Duan Ling Tian made it from the 5th level of the body tempering stage to the 7th level in only 1.5 months' time. An ordinary 7th level body tempering martial artist would possess 2,000 pounds of strength, whereas Duan Ling Tian, who cultivated the Nine Dragons War Sovereign technique, at the moment of progressing into the 7th level of the body tempering stage, his body's strongest explosive force had already passed the 3,000-pound mark. Compared to the 300 pounds of strength he had when he was at the 4th level of the body tempering stage, his power increased by a whole 10 times. I still have a half-month more, just enough time to cultivate the martial arts in the Nine Dragons War Sovereign techniques, Spirit Serpent Form, Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Thinking up to this point, Duan Ling Tian's eyes shone brightly. He immediately started to cultivate the Spirit Serpent Movement Technique in the courtyard. After cultivating the Nine Dragons War Sovereign Techniques Spirit Serpent Form until the 7th level of the body tempering stage, the flexibility of his body was beyond imagination. Duan Ling Tian was absolutely sure that even the yoga masters with the best flexibility on earth wouldn't be able to compare to his current flexibility. So, Duan Ling Tian cultivated around the large tree at a corner of the courtyard. His whole body was like a spirit serpent, sticking to the tree trunk as he flashed around swiftly. In a few moments, he had already gone around the tree from top to bottom more than 10 times. The Spirit Serpent Movement Technique is a pure movement technique martial skill that stresses upon the utmost usage of the cultivator's body's flexibility, while at the same time producing terribly frightening speeds. Duan Ling Tian, whose body fulfilled the flexibility requirements to cultivate the Spirit Serpent Movement Technique, was able to cultivate it proficiently. An hour later, he finally grasped some of the quintessences of the Spirit Serpent Movement Technique. Of course, it was mostly due to the foundation from form and will boxing that he achieved in his previous life, or else it would be impossible for him to grasp some of the quintessences of the Spirit Serpent Movement Technique in such a short amount of time. The more he trained, the more deeply absorbed he was. After an unknown amount of time, the clear and melodious sound of a door opening entered his ears. Only then did he stop his cultivation. "Mom!" When he saw the beautiful woman that walked out, a light smile emerged on Duan Ling Tian's face. He, who was an orphan in his previous life, truly cherished and enjoyed the motherly love Li Ro gave him, and he was deeply trapped within this feeling, unable to break free from its clutches. "Tian," Li Ro replied with a smile, but her smile quickly froze. "Tian, you broke through?" Li Ro's voice trembled lightly. "Yes." Duan Ling Tian nodded. Good. Li Ro was so excited that she was unable to control her tone. In these past few months, she was always worried about whether her son would be able to step into the 7th level of the body tempering stage before the day of the battle. But now it seemed like she had overthought things. Her son didn't disappoint her, and he even completed his 7th level body tempering breakthrough half a month earlier. "Tian, Mom is very happy today. I'll go buy some things now and cook something good for you." Li Ro's beautiful face was glowing. She left as soon as she finished her sentence. Warmth aroused inside of Duan Ling Tian's heart. He could understand his mother's mood. A parent's love and devotion. Boss. Just when Duan Ling Tian was about to continue cultivating the Spirit Serpent Movement Technique, a slightly hurried voice sounded from outside the courtyard. "This damn fatty is really thickhead. He's back again?" Duan Ling Tian frowned. He recognized the owner of the voice. In the past 2 months, the fatty had come more than 10 times. Most of the time, taking into account the good relationship between Fifth Elder and his mother, Duan Ling Tian usually wouldn't give him attitude. But after giving this damn fatty an inch, he was trying to take a mile. After opening the unlocked door, he walked out of the courtyard. "Li Xian, how many times must I tell you, I won't take you as a lackey. If you continue to harass me, then I'll be forced to take this matter to your dad." Duan Ling Tian looked towards the little fatty and frowned. Boss, please don't. I came today because I really have an important matter to tell you. You're in trouble, big trouble. When he heard Duan Ling Tian say that he would complain about him to his dad, the fatty immediately got scared. What matter is it? Hurry up and tell me. Duan Ling Tian's expression turned slightly grim. As far as he was concerned, this damn fatty's filthy mouth couldn't utter anything decent. Boss, when I heard about this, the first thing I did was come to see you. I didn't even tell my dad. I'm really loyal, right? The little fatty's fat face bulged out as he laughed. If you don't tell me right away, then you don't have to anymore. Duan Ling Tian's eyes narrowed. In front of this damn fatty, he didn't have any patience. Please don't, boss. I'll tell you. This was something I heard by chance. Even in the Fong family, it's still a secret. His fat face trembled as he said this. Then the little fatty took a deep breath. Fong family? Duan Ling Tian's eyebrows raised. Boss, I heard that the Fong family's manager, Fong Chong, broke through to the core formation stage a few days ago. Why don't we ignore the agreement that's supposed to take place in half a month? You're only 15, so even if you go against an agreement, it's not really shameful. After finishing what he wanted to say in a single breath, the little fatty looked eagerly at Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian's face didn't change. It was as if he wasn't the least bit shocked. But his eyes had narrowed slightly, and a bright light flashed through them. The thing that he was worried about the most actually happened. Fong Chong actually broke through at this critical juncture. The 9th level of the body tempering stage possesses 10,000 pounds of strength when the strength of the fleshly body is fully exerted. It is able to draw upon the force of heaven and earth to develop an ancient mammoth silhouette. Whereas at the 1st level of the core formation stage, on top of the fleshly body strength being equal to the strength of one ancient mammoth, the developed origin energy provides a martial artist with strength similar to another ancient mammoth. A 1st level core formation martial artist has a total of strength of 2 ancient mammoths when fully exerting his strength. As he drew in a deep breath, Duan Ling Tian could feel the pressure. The happiness he felt when he broke through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage eased up. Li Xian, it's enough that you told me about this. Don't tell any other person, do you understand? He looked towards the little fatty as he coldly said this. I can't even tell my dad? The little fatty asked naively. Is your dad not a person? Duan Ling Tian gave the little fatty a stare, causing the little fatty to feel as if he was sitting on a bed of needles. Boss, that? Abruptly, the little fatty looked eagerly at Duan Ling Tian. What? Duan Ling Tian frowned. This damn fatty was really annoying. But for the sake of sealing his lips, Duan Ling Tian had no choice but to endure. Boss, I need you to help me teach a lesson to Li Ming. The little fatty rubbed his fat hands together while he laughed slyly. Duan Ling Tian thought for a second. He was remembering who Li Ming was. Li Ming, the youngest son of the 2nd elder. A famous genius in the Li family. His natural talent was not one bit lower than the Li Jia of the past. He was 17 this year, and under the assistance of the Thunder Flame Pills and the 6 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid, he stepped into the 6th level of the body tempering stage a few days ago. You and Li Ming's conditions are the same, both not lacking Thunder Flame Pills and 6 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid. So why don't you rely on your own strength to defeat him? Said Duan Ling Tian angrily. In this sense, this damn fatty was not one bit similar to the 5th elder. I don't lack it, but the problem is that he's older than me by 2 years. The little fatty looked at Duan Ling Tian with anticipation as he laughed maliciously. Boss, please help me. I was nearly kicked around like a ball last time, and he even insulted me saying I was a damn fat pig. I must teach him a lesson and make him call me Brother Fatty every time he sees me. Boss, you have to help me. If I get beaten up by him again, I'm afraid I might forget what you said to me earlier. Noticing that Duan Ling Tian was still thinking it over, the little fatty hurriedly struck while the iron was hot. You damn fatty, you dare threaten me? Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed with a cold light, causing the little fatty to take a step back in fear. B-boss, I'm in the wrong. Enough. Frowning, Duanling Tian didn't bother to continue arguing with the little fatty. While smoothly removing the bronze ring from his finger, he looked toward the little fatty and said, "Take this ring with you, and give me the ring on your hand." The little fatty was struck dumb. He glanced at the bronze ring in Duanling Tian's hand, and then looked at the gold ring on his thumb. His chubby face had a painful expression. "Boss, this is the birthday present from my grandfather last year. Are you exchanging with me or not? If you're not exchanging, then scram." "Duanling Tian," he shouted in a low voice. He then turned around like he was about leave. The little fatty was a shrewd person, so he instantly noticed the hidden clues. He hurriedly spread open his hands and moved to block Duanling Tian. He slyly smiled as he said, "Boss, does the ring in your hand have some secrets?" Duanling Tian responded, "Hmph. If you take this ring, defeating Li Ming will just be a matter of seconds. But since you're unwilling to give up the ring your grandfather gave you, then it doesn't matter anymore." Duanling Tian was about to return to the courtyard as soon as he finished speaking. "Boss, I'm in the wrong. I admit that I'm in the wrong. Isn't that enough?" The little fatty became anxious. While quickly walking forward, he looked at Duanling Tian eagerly and said, "Boss, this ring in your hand. Don't tell me it's inscribed with an inscription. You even know about inscriptions?" Duanling Tian was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that Li Xin would know about inscriptions. "Hee." The little fatty laughed complacently. "When I was at my grandfather's house, I saw some records about inscriptions in an ancient book. Allegedly, inscriptions are typically inscribed on personal belongings and enable an individual to control unbelievable powers. Fortune really does favor the fool." Duanling Tian shook his head as he passed the bronze ring in his hand to the little fatty. "Take it. If you're unwilling to give up the gold ring on your hand, once you've used up the inscription on the bronze ring, return it to me." The little fatty extended his chubby hand to receive the ring. His little eyes stared at it intensely before he exclaimed, "Boss, I was just casually making a remark. Does this ring of yours really have an inscription on it?" "Nonsense." Duanling Tian made a low humph sound. The inscription on this ring was inscribed using the materials he had bought the other day. He originally intended to keep it just in case he needs to use it against the Fong family's manager. But who could have known that Fong Chong would break through at this critical juncture? This type of inscription was only effective against body-tempering martial artists. It was useless against core formation martial artists. Therefore, he made use of the opportunity and gave it to the little fatty. With his current strength, he wouldn't need the power of inscriptions to defeat a body-tempering martial artist. "Boss, you're even acquainted with an inscription master?" The little fatty's small eyes started to glare brightly in a manner that seemed as if he would never be satisfied until he knew everything. "Enough. Hurry up and scram. Remember what I said. If you dare to spread the word that Fong Chong has broken through, especially if it spreads to my mother, I'll knead you into a ball and kick you around." Duanling Tian walked into the courtyard after giving the little fatty a stare. However, the little fatty followed him into the courtyard. Boss. Duanling Tian frowned. "What now?" The little fatty smiled embarrassedly. "Boss, how do you activate the inscription on this ring? Didn't you read an ancient book about inscriptions? What? You need me to teach you such a simple thing?" Duanling Tian angrily gave the little fatty a disdainful gaze. Then he taught him how to activate the inscription before kicking him out. After the little fatty left, Duanling Tian's expression turned grim. Fong Chong breaking through to the core formation stage was undoubtedly bad news to him. The inscription technique may be miraculous, but it also had its limits. The inscriptions that Duanling Tian was capable of inscribing at the moment were only effective against martial artists that had not developed their origin energy. Inscriptions that could affect core formation martial artists required the combination of origin energy with materials in order to be engraved successfully. He thought about asking his mother for help, but inscribing was an extensive and profound art. Someone who lacked the slightest knowledge of inscriptions would require years of bitter research into the Tao of inscription before being able to inscribe their first inscription successfully. The only reason he was able to inscribe inscriptions so easily was thanks to the memories of Rebirth Martial Emperor that he possessed. When he inscribed an inscription, it was as if Rebirth Martial Emperor was doing it, so he didn't feel any pressure. Looks like if I want to kill Feng Chong, I can't rely on any external forces. I can only rely on myself. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed as he returned to the courtyard. Maybe the spirit serpent movement technique will become a turning point for him. He didn't allow Li Xian to spread the news that Feng Chong had broken through to the core formation stage, because he didn't want his mother to know. He knew that the moment his mother found out about Feng Chong breaking through, never in a million years would she allow him to pay the Feng family a visit half a month from now. Whereas the Feng family concealed this news because they were worried that he wouldn't dare pay them a visit once he heard of it. The Feng family was obviously trying to use this opportunity to get rid of him. Feng family, you're really looking down on me. Duan Ling Tian's eyes flashed with a cold light. At the Li family martial arts practice hall, the little fatty Li Xian had both his hands in his pockets. He was standing there putting on airs. His surroundings were filled with Li family disciples. Each one of them was looking at Li Xian while pointing at him and discussing. Is he high? He actually dared to challenge Li Ming. Does he feel the pitiful state Li Ming left him in the last time wasn't enough? I don't know. Maybe because he's covered in thick skin and flesh, he can't feel any pain. Fifth Elder is handsome and unrestrained with an imposing appearance, but besides Li Xian's eyebrows, there isn't a single part of him that's similar to Fifth Elder. Even if he does have a similar appearance, it's been blocked out by his fat. Many of the discussions were filled with ridicule. They felt like Li Xian was overestimating himself. Damn fat pig. I heard that you want to challenge me. After a short time, a youth walked in from afar and stopped in front of Li Xian. His face had a mocking expression while looking at Li Xian. He was looking down on him. He was Li Ming, the son of the Li family's second elder. Li Ming, let's settle the score between us today. The little fatty shouted loudly. Then all the fat on his entire body trembled as he flew out like a ball. His chubby fists blasted towards Li Ming. You're overestimating yourself. Li Ming smiled in disdain. He didn't even bother to move. His fists struck out to intercept the little fatty. As far as he was concerned, as long as his fist strikes the little fatty, then the little fatty will be blasted away rolling like a ball. The surrounding Li family disciples had the exactly same thought. In their opinion, Li Xian was far from being a match for Li Ming. Ping. Their fists collided. But at the instant of collision, the little fatty's eyes narrowed into slits. He instantly activated the inscription on the ring on his pinky. Hissus. Immediately, Li Ming felt as if he was struck by lightning. His entire body was feeling powerless. Besides that, he felt an aching pain from being struck by thunder and flames throughout his entire body. This feeling was extremely familiar to him. It was exactly the same thing he always felt after consuming the Thunder Flame pill. Before he could even begin wondering why the symptoms of Thunder Flame pill consumption would arise at this moment, the powerless Li Ming was blasted backwards by Li Xian's punch. Subsequently, Li Xian followed up with another fist strike, hitting the side of Li Ming's face and knocking him down. Following that was a hurricane of attacks. A completely one-sided mauling. Are you kidding me? The surrounding Li family disciples' mouths gaped wide open. Some even ruthlessly pinched their thighs, which made them emit shrill cries before realizing it wasn't a dream. They were all dumbstruck. When did Li Xian become so formidable? Didn't Li Ming just break through to the 6th level of the body tempering stage a few days ago? Stop it. When the aching pain in his body finally dissipated, Li Ming wanted to retaliate, but he felt pain in his muscles whenever he tried to slightly exert strength. He was obviously severely injured by Li Xian. Forced by the circumstances, he hurriedly started to beg for mercy. Will you continue calling me damn fat pig? Li Xian was merciless. Even when his opponent was down, he stepped on Li Ming's thigh, causing Li Ming to scream in pain before putting his hand on his hips and mouthing off. I won't. Li Ming said, in a slightly hysterical tone. Next time you see me, call me Brother Fatty. Do you understand? The little fatty gave him a fierce and malicious stare before threatening him. Yes, Brother Fatty, Li Ming hurriedly said, afraid that if he was too slow, the little fatty's fist would once more descend upon him. A wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. Since his entire body was filled with injuries, and he had no chance of defeating Li Xian, he chose to endure. As far as he was concerned, once he recovers, he will be able to wash away the shame he endured today. Of course, he was puzzled in his heart as to why the symptoms of Thunder Flame Pill's medicinal properties taking effect spread throughout his body the moment he collided fists with Li Xian. Could it be a side effect from Thunder Flame Pill consumption? I never noticed that you were such a contemptible wretch. Only obedient after taking a beating. After making a humph sound, Li Xian left Li Ming and left the martial arts practice hall under gazes of disbelief. After teaching Li Ming a lesson, Li Xian's mood was elated. The Thunder Flame inscription boss gave me is really great. I bet Li Ming is still wondering why his body was suddenly affected by the symptoms of Thunder Flame Pill's medicinal properties taking effect. I bet he thinks it's the side effects of the Thunder Flame Pill, haha. In the courtyard, a slim, graceful, and beautiful young girl with a violet meteorite flexible sword in her hand was unceasingly drawing and sheathing her sword. She was cultivating the drawing sword arts. Beside her was a handsome youth with delicate features. He was patiently explaining to her the minute details of the sword drawing arts and answering all her questions like a tireless teacher. Boss. Suddenly, the sound of someone calling out came from outside the courtyard, causing the youth to frown. This damn fatty is such a nuisance. Ku'er, I'm going out for a second. Cultivate by yourself for a while. Yes, young master. The young girl obediently nodded. The youth walked out of the courtyard with large strides. When he spotted the little fatty that was walking over, he frowned and asked, "What now?" The little fatty laughed slyly. Then he took off the bronze ring from his pinky, as well as the gold ring on his thumb before passing them both to the youth. Boss, your ring? The youth didn't move to receive the rings, but instead looked at the gold ring in the fatty's hand. What is the meaning of this? The fatty smiled embarrassedly. Boss, I brutally beat up Li Ming today. I'm sure he'll come get even with me once he has recovered. So I want to ask you to get that inscription master to inscribe a Thunder Flame inscription for me. Giving the little fatty a stare, Duanling Tian angrily said, Damn fatty, do you think inscriptions are worthless and that you can get one whenever you please? I still haven't even asked you for compensation. Do you know that just this Thunder Flame inscription costs 30 silver worth of materials? The inscription technique is an art that burned through money. Inscriptions like the Thunder Flame inscription are still considered low-grade inscriptions. Inscriptions that are of a slightly higher grade would easily cost thousands, 10,000, or even more silver. Duanling Tian originally expected the little fatty to back out after he heard of the expenses. After all, even the little fatty's dad, fifth elderly Ting, only received not even 20 silver coins a month, so it would be impossible to allow him to pour money down the drain like this. Unexpectedly, after hearing what Duanling Tian said, the little fatty abruptly started laughing. He put his hand into his pocket and withdrew a stack of silver bills. Each of the bills was of the 100 silver denomination. He passed them over to Duanling Tian. Boss, isn't it only silver? Anything that can be solved by silver is not a problem at all. There should be around 7 or 800 silver here. Take it all and get that inscription master to make me some inscriptions. Duanling Tian was struck dumb. He was absolutely sure that the silver bills in the little fatty's hands were not from fifth elderly Ting. Li Ting earned 500 silver the other day by betting on him. But even then, Li Ting's entire net worth wasn't more than 1,500 silver. Otherwise, during that time when he battled with Li Jie, Li Ting would have been able to use 500 more silver to bet with Li Kuan. Duanling Tian received the silver bills from the fatty and quickly weighed them before asking, Li Xian, where did you get all this money from? The little fatty smiled widely and his little eyes narrowed. My grandfather gave it to me before I returned to the Li family estate. Boss, please don't tell my dad, or else I won't even be able to keep the balance of my money. Besides these silver bills, you still have more? Duanling Tian was stupefied and his eyes started to glow. He didn't expect the little fatty to be this loaded. Hee, I still have some. The little fatty had a carefree expression on his face. My grandfather told me that I can send him a letter whenever I've used up all of this silver, and he will send me more. The corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth twitched. It would seem that the little fatty's grandfather was no ordinary person, though he had never heard of him before. In the memories of the past Duan Ling Tian, he only knew that the little fatty's mother died of an illness around 7 or 8 years ago. After that, the little fatty went away with his grandfather. With silver coins, anything can be discussed? Duan Ling Tian's eyes narrowed, and he started patting the little fatty on the shoulder. How about this? I'll write down the materials needed for the Thunderflame inscription, and you go buy them yourself. We'll consider the money here as my compensation. From now on, I will inscribe as many Thunderflame inscriptions as you can supply the materials for. What say you? Boss, you said that you will inscribe it for me? Don't tell me the Thunderflame inscription was inscribed by you? The little fatty was dumbfounded when he understood the meaning behind what Duan Ling Tian said. What's with all the nonsense? As long as the inscriptions are good, why do you care about who inscribed them? Duan Ling Tian casually put away the silver bills in his pocket, turned around, and returned to the courtyard to write down the materials needed for the Thunderflame inscription. Look at the materials written on this list. Each set can be used to inscribe one Thunderflame inscription, right? You have to prepare some accessories, and each accessory can only contain one inscription. Duan Ling Tian said as he passed the list over to the little fatty. Okay. The little fatty took the list as if it was a precious treasure. Then he looked eagerly at Duan Ling Tian, hesitating to speak what was on his mind. If you have something to say, then say it in scram. Duan Ling Tian said angrily. For the past few months, he'd been totally annoyed by the little fatty. Boss, can I learn the inscription technique from you? The little fatty's chubby face trembled with an expression full of anticipation. Noticing Duan Ling Tian frowning, the little fatty hurriedly added, Boss, I can pay you tuition fees. I won't learn for free. Tuition fees? Duan Ling Tian's frown eased up and his eyes shone brightly. What he lacked the most was money. Even though he had 30,000 silver with him, he knew that the moment he stepped into the core formation stage, it wouldn't be very long before it would all be used up. No amount of silver would be sufficient for him, especially since he was capable in so many professions. He had medicine refining, weapon crafting, as well as inscriptions. Okay, since you're so sincere, even though it's difficult, I will still take out half an hour's time to teach you. How much you can learn will be entirely up to you. Only an idiot wouldn't take money that was sitting on the table. Duan Ling Tian patted the little fatty on his shoulder again and said, out of respect for Fifth Elder, I'll only ask for 1,000 silver coins a month. Any problems with that? After hearing what he said, the little fatty was dumbstruck. Noticing the little fatty's expression, Duan Ling Tian thought that he felt that it was too expensive, so he embarrassedly coughed as he slowly said, if you think it's too expensive, we can still negotiate. Slightly dash. It's so cheap. Boss, thank you. The little fatty excitedly interrupted Duan Ling Tian. This caused Duan Ling Tian, who kept quiet, to feel regret at the same time. Did he really set the price too low? Seeing the little fatty holding the list in his hand and walking out, Duan Ling Tian stopped him and said, with a heavy expression, no matter what, never let anyone know the fact that I know the inscription technique, or else you can forget about learning it from me. Don't worry, boss. I wouldn't tell anyone even if they beat me to death. The little fatty pledged sincerely, jubilantly walking out. Imagining how Li Ming would continuously be thwarted by him in the future, his heart was filled with excitement and joy. He decided that he would at least get another 10 to 20 Thunderflame inscriptions to keep his back up. I, Li Xian, have such good foresight. Taking such a formidable person as my boss, not to mention his heaven-defying strength, he even knows the inscription technique. I gain big time. The little fatty muttered to himself in a low voice while excitedly walking home to get his money. He had already given all the money he had on him to Duan Ling Tian. After little fatty left, Duan Ling Tian returned to the courtyard and continued to stand behind Ku Er. Their bodies were close together as he guided her in the sword drawing arts. After 2 months of cultivation, Ku-er had nearly grasped the quintessence of the sword-drawing arts. She was only lacking a little bit of practice. Smelling the delicate fragrance coming off the young girl's hair and feeling the warmth of her body, Duan Ling Tian's gaze became slightly dazed. He took in a deep breath in enjoyment. "What are the two of you doing?" A voice that had a hint of laughter in it, followed by the sound of footsteps, abruptly came from behind them. When he heard the voice, Duan Ling Tian embarrassedly took a step back, distancing himself from the young girl. The young girl had an embarrassed expression. Her face was so red that it seemed like blood would drip out at any time. "Madam." It was exactly Li Ro, who had just returned from the marketplace. "Ku-er, stop cultivating for a while and help me. I bought plenty of things today to nourish you both up." Li Ro shook the vegetable basket in her hand as she smiled. "Yes." The young girl hurriedly put away her sword. "Mom, do you need my help?" Duan Ling Tian asked with a smile on his face. "Go away. Go and cultivate properly. Although you've broken through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage, Fangqian is a 9th level body tempering martial artist. If he somehow has luck on his side and dodges your sword-drawing arts, then you'll be done for." Li Ro gave Duan Ling Tian a contemptuous glance, absolutely ignoring him. "Young master, you broke through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage?" The young girl looked at Duan Ling Tian with a pleasantly surprised expression. Duan Ling Tian laughed loudly. "My Ku-er is already at the 6th level of the body tempering stage. If I hadn't broken through, then I would have lost face." The young girl's gaze dimmed as she slowly said, "Young master, I'll try to cultivate slower." Li Ro smiled. "Ku-er, ignore him. Just work hard and cultivate. We women need to be stronger than men so we can suppress them. If you don't want to be bullied by him in the future, then you have to hurry up and surpass him." After hearing what Li Ro said, the young girl blushed. She took the vegetable basket off Li Ro's hands before running into the kitchen, leaving the mother and son to look at her embarrassed figure. "Kid, don't get lazy." Li Ro gave Duan Ling Tian a stare before following Ku-er into the kitchen. Duan Ling Tian shook his head and smiled, continuing his cultivation. His flexible body seemed as if it had transformed into a spirit serpent as it flashed swiftly across the courtyard. Swift as wind and lightning, his speed grew faster by the moment. The natural talent Ku-er revealed in the past 2 months amazed even Duan Ling Tian. Just like him, Ku-er's cultivation circumstances exceeded that of the Li family disciples. But Ku-er was a girl after all. Having this level of natural talent was indeed rare. According to his mother, Ku-er's natural talent even exceeded hers. Nevertheless, Ku-er having such good natural talent and fast cultivation speeds made Duan Ling Tian happy. At least when he leaves Fresh Breeze Town to wander the world, he can bring Ku-er along. If he didn't have Ku-er by his side, he would feel unaccustomed. After a short while, the two beauties finished cooking a sumptuous feast with a strong aroma. The family sat down to enjoy the meal together. As they put food on each other's plates, the atmosphere was filled with happiness and warmth. At the same time, in the courtyard of second elder Li Shang stand at the door and looking at his son, Li Ming, who was lying there on a bed. His expression was filled with disappointment. "Look at you. If it was Duan Ling Tian that did this to you, I wouldn't say a single word. But you actually got beaten up to this sorry state by Li Xian. Don't you feel ashamed?" "I know I do. Dad, I already told you 800 times. It was the side effects of the Thunder Flame pill that abruptly affected me, or else I would have pummeled Li Xian until he was unrecognizable." Li Ming sat up on the bed with his head resting against the wall. He had an expression of helplessness, and he was unable to vindicate himself. "Look at you, still looking for excuses. Your brother consumed the Thunder Flame pill as well. Why didn't I see him be affected by any side effects?" Li Sheng shook his head. He obviously didn't believe Li Ming. If you can't beat him now, go cultivate hard and beat him later on. Stop trying to find excuses. That's what cowards do. Li Sheng turned around and left as soon as he finished. Li Ming lied there on the bed. Even slightly stretching his body made him feel pain. He gnashed his teeth as he fiercely said, "Damn fatty, once I've recovered, I will properly teach you a lesson." I don't believe your luck will always be that good. In Li Ming's opinion, Li Xian being able to defeat him was all thanks to good luck. If it wasn't for him being affected by the Thunder Flame Pill side effects, it would be impossible for Li Xian to defeat him. When he recalled how his father and brother didn't believe him, he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Why don't they believe me? Didn't they even think about it? That damn fatty, how could he even be a match for me? Are you sure you want me to inscribe 20 Thunderflame inscriptions? Duan Ling Tian frowned when he saw the pile of materials the little fatty had prepared. He felt it to be slightly too much. Yes, boss. The little fatty's head nodded like a chick pecking on rice, subsequently asking, Boss, are there any problems? No problems. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. He then said, I just want to tell you that you can't use the Thunder Flame inscription on anyone besides Li Ming, or else it won't take long for everyone to realize that you used an inscription on him. If you only use it on Li Ming, even if it happens repeatedly, he will be unable to explain it because no one will believe him. Yeah, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? The little fatty hit himself on the head. Then he regretfully said, I bet once I use the Thunder Flame inscription on Li Ming a few times more, he won't dare to offend me again. Boss, won't the remaining materials go to waste? Duan Ling Tian indifferently said, Keep the remaining materials. You will need them. The first inscription I'll be teaching you is the Thunder Flame inscription. Thanks, boss. Thanks a lot. A wide smile burst forth on the little fatty's face. Suddenly, he noticed Duan Ling Tian opening his hand towards him. Feeling puzzled, the fatty asked, Boss, what do you mean by that? Tuition fee. Duan Ling Tian gave the little fatty a stare as he said angrily this. Yes, I nearly forgot. The little fatty laughed slyly as he reached into his pocket, withdrew a stack of silver bills, and passed them to Duan Ling Tian. Boss, I had it ready a long time ago. Here's 1,000 silver. It's the tuition fee for the next month. Duan Ling Tian extended his hand and took it from him. Then he nodded his head. Starting from tomorrow, I'll come find you at your place after lunch. For half an hour daily, I'll teach you to the best of my ability. What you can learn will be entirely up to you. Thanks, boss. Then I won't disturb you any longer. The little fatty had a wide smile as he turned around and jubilantly left. After quickly weighing the 1,000 silver in bills in his hand, the corners of Duan Ling Tian's mouth curled up into a slight smile. Every penny counts. I need to collect as much as I can, because in the future, no matter whether it's medicine refining, weapon crafting, or inscriptions, they are all bottomless pits. Starting the following day, Duan Ling Tian would dedicate half an hour out of his schedule to go to Li Xian's house after lunch. At the beginning, 5th Elder Li Ting felt it to be odd. But after seeing his son and Duan Ling Tian becoming good friends, he was happy for it to happen. Although, in the past few days, he would always hear weird sounds coming from his son's room. Clap. Abruptly, the noise sounded again. Li Ting shook his head and walked out of the courtyard. In the room, the handsome youth with sword-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes slapped the little fatty on his head. How can you be so stupid? I told you that violet gold sand and scorching grass powder can't be mixed directly, but you still can't remember. Boss, don't hit me anymore. If you continue, I'll become even more stupid. The little fatty rubbed his head. His face had a wronged expression. Why did I ever agree to teach you the inscription technique? You're a blockhead. I'm telling you right now, if you don't achieve any improvement in this month, no matter how much silver you give me, I won't teach you any more next month because I don't want to waste my time. The youth had an expression of disappointment. The little fatty bitterly smiled. Boss, don't worry. I'll work hard and not let you down. I hope you can do as you say. Half an hour is up, so it's time for me to leave. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you can improve a little. With a frown, the youth walked out of the room and left. Half a month later, dawn. The Li family's martial arts practice hall was bustling with noise and excitement. The gathered Li family disciples were all youths and young girls. Their discussions all revolved around 2nd Elder's youngest son, Li Ming, and 5th Elder's son, Li Xian. This time Li Ming took the initiative to challenge Li Xian. Looks like he's finished recovering. Li Ming said that he only lost to Li Xian because he was sick. I wonder if it's true. If he loses to Li Xian again, then it must be a lie. Yeah, I think so too. He can't always be coincidentally sick, right? Li Ming had arrived long ago and was standing in the middle of the martial arts practice hall. As he heard the surrounding discussions, his face grew uglier by the moment. His father didn't allow him to spread the matter regarding the Thunder Flame pill, so he could only use the excuse of being sick. But he didn't expect that so many people would doubt him. Did they really think he wasn't a match for Li Xian? Li Xian, this time I'm going to make you lie on a bed for half a month too. Li Ming angrily said as he gnashed his teeth. Li Xian has arrived. Suddenly, the youths and young girls surrounding the martial arts practice hall all turned around to look in the distance. In the distance, a perfect couple walked in front, while a slightly wretched little fatty followed behind them like a little lackey. The little lackey was exactly the main protagonist of today, Li Xian. I heard Li Xian acknowledge Duanling Tian as his boss. Acknowledging a disciple with another surname as his boss, such a disgrace to the Li family. So what if he's a disciple with another surname? If you've got the balls, repeat what you just said loudly. Do you dare? You don't dare, right? If you don't dare, then don't talk big. That's right. Even though Duanling Tian is a disciple with another surname, he brought honor to our Li family. The Fong family was put in embarrassing situations many times by him. The 3 months period will be up tomorrow. I wonder if Duanling Tian will really pay a visit to the Fong family. As Duanling Tian held Ku Er's hand, he could hear the discussion about him from afar. Towards all of this, he just laughed it off. He then looked at the little fatty behind him. Don't injure him too severely today. Let him withdraw after he understands that he won't win, or else second elder will go argue with your dad even though he's extremely magnanimous. Don't make it difficult for your dad, do you understand? The little fatty hurriedly nodded. In this world, the person he admired the most was Duanling Tian. When they noticed the 3 of them arriving, the Li family disciples opened up a path. Duanling Tian held Ku Er's hand as they stood in the front. The little fatty, on the other hand, walked out and entered the arena. He was grinning broadly as he looked towards Li Ming. Li Ming, have you recovered well? You recovered so quickly. Li Xian, today I will wash away the shame you gave me half a month ago. Li Ming's face was bright red. The rage that he had suppressed for half a month was finally bursting forth. Don't worry, my boss told me not to injure you so severely this time. Li Xian laughed slyly. His expression seemed annoying and extremely despicable. You're courting death. Li Ming's gaze turned cold, his legs, which had already been accumulating energy for some time, shook, and he flew out like a fierce tiger towards Li Xian. The mastered middle-grade yellow-rank martial skill Fierce Tiger Fist was executed, blasting towards Li Xian. Fierce Tiger Fist? Upon seeing this scene, Duanling Tian's eyes narrowed. He remembered that 7th Elder's youngest son, Li Xian, also used Fierce Tiger Fist. However, Li Xian's Fierce Tiger Fist was inferior to Li Ming's. They were on completely different levels. This was the difference between the initial stage and mastery. Martial skills were only able to exert their true might when cultivated to mastery. Li Xian moved, directly moving to intercept the strike. He didn't even use any martial arts. He only casually struck out his fist towards Li Ming's fist. In an instant, the corners of his mouth curled up into a wicked smile, and he activated the Thunder Flame inscription. Instantly, the scene from half a month ago appeared once again. Li Ming's whole body froze as if struck by lightning. The strength in his fists dissipated, only leaving behind a slight inertia. He was completely unable to stop Li Xian. Ping! Li Xian's fist struck out and struck Li Ming down, putting him in such a painful state that he started sweating profusely. A flurry of fists and kicks followed that. The Li family martial arts practice hall was deathly silent. To the people who saw their fight half a month ago, this scene was so similar. Half a month ago, Li Ming was beaten up by Li Xian in the same way. No, impossible. How could this be possible? After Li Xian stopped, Li Ming noticed that the aching pain of thunder and flames striking his body had vanished. He seemed to be in a daze, unable to believe that what had happened was real. If half a month ago Li Xian's luck was good, could it be that his luck was good again this time? How could there be such a coincidence? Don't offend me anymore from now on, or else I won't mind making you lie on a bed for half a month again. Li Xian's chubby face trembled as he boasted. Under the revering gazes of the surrounding people, he returned to Duanling Tian's side. Li Xian had a flattering smile on his face. He seemed like a completely different person. Boss, I listened to you and showed mercy. This time he will be bedridden for a few days at most. Duanling Tian nodded indifferently. Sister-in-law, I'm formidable, right? Li Xian looked towards Ku-er as he smiled slyly. Hearing how Li Xian addressed her, Ku-er's face instantly blushed. Stop being complacent. With the assistance of Thunder Flame Pill and the 7 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid, you're only at the 5th level of the body tempering stage now. Don't you feel ashamed? Duanling Tian gave Li Xian a disdainful glance. Since he was forced to tacitly approve of Li Xian as his lackey, he added materials into the fatty's 6 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid, changing it into the 7 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid. Of course, this was a secret between him and Li Xian. Even 5th Elder Li Ting didn't know. Only then did Li Xian find out that the 6 Treasures Body Tempering Liquid was actually made by his boss, and this made him start admiring Duanling Tian from the bottom of his heart. Li Xian embarrassedly scratched the back of his head while laughing bitterly. Boss, do you think everyone is abnormal like you and sister-in-law? Yesterday, Ku-er's cultivation followed behind Duanling Tian's. She stepped into the 7th level of the body tempering stage, causing Li Xian to be speechless. He had no choice but to admire them. Scram, you're the abnormal one. Duanling Tian gave the little fatty a stare. While holding Ku-er's hand, he turned around and walked away. As the crowd automatically opened up a path for them, all of the gazes that gathered on him were filled with respect. The Duanling Tian of 4 months ago was considered to be someone that everyone looked down upon. But now, unknowingly, Duanling Tian had become someone that they could only look up to. Some of them even regretted not getting on good terms with him when he was still weak. If they had, they would be able to follow beside him like Li Xian. How prestigious. Boss, wait for me. Dragging along his body that was covered in fat, Li Xian followed along jubilantly. When the shadow of their figures disappeared from everyone's sight, only then did everyone look towards the person lying in the middle of the arena. Li Ming, who had a stupefied expression, was looking up towards the sky. The crowd started mocking him. Is Li Ming going to say he lost again because he got sick again? In my opinion, when he said he was sick last month, it was totally an excuse. Look now, he disgraced himself. Such a disgrace. The corners of Li Ming's mouth emitted a helpless and bitter laugh as he heard the ridicule that came from the surrounding Li family disciples. He could not understand why such a bizarre thing would happen to him. Boss, tomorrow is the day you said you would visit the Feng family. Are you really going? On the way back from the martial arts practice hall, the little fatty had a serious expression as he looked towards the youth beside him. The youth smiled indifferently. Of course I'm going. For over 20 years in his past life, he always kept his promises. He never had the habit of taking back anything he said. This was one of his rules when he dealt with his affairs. If he changed it, then he wouldn't be the Ling Tian whose name once shook the planet Earth and its various countries. The little fatty was silent for a bit. After a short moment he asked, Boss, are you confident? The youth shrugged his shoulders. The corners of his mouth contained a smile as he answered, Do you want the truth or a lie? Of course I want the truth. The little fatty said in all seriousness. I'm not 100% confident. The youth's pupils flickered as he lightly shook his head. Boss, if you're not confident, then don't go tomorrow. You're only 15, the same age as Feng Qian's son. If you back out of the fight with Feng Chong, no one would really ridicule you. An expression of worry emerged on the little fatty's face as he said this sincerely. Li Xian. The youth abruptly said, Yes, boss. The little fatty hurriedly replied. Remember this, as a man, you must be responsible. Once you've promised something, there is no reason for you to break it. If I don't go, I would be going against my heart, and I might end up stuck in this pit for the rest of my lifetime because I was a coward and I was scared. So, even if I don't have 100% confidence, I will still go." The youth had a serious expression as he slowly said this. The young girl beside the youth had eyes that were clear like water as she looked at him sentimentally. She noticed that at this moment, there was an indescribable charisma emanating from the youth. It was touching the strings in the deepest part of her heart. It caused her to be deeply trapped within the grasps of his charismatic persona, and she was unable to break free from the cage that it imposed onto her. "Boss, I can't defeat you in an argument. Everything you say always sounds logical." The little fatty had a bitter smile. "But just this once, you must listen to me. Please don't act arbitrarily. It's not as if you don't know that Feng Chong is not at the body. Where is all this nonsense coming from? You should first take care of yourself. You don't have to bother about my business." The youth cut the fatty off. His sword-shaped eyebrows slightly twitched as he shot the little fatty a glare. This guy is a real big mouth. Only now did the little fatty realize that young girl was present. He embarrassedly smiled at her. After driving the little fatty away, the youth brought the young girl back to their home's courtyard. At this moment, the young girl's immature and delicate face had a hint of worry. Her warm and gentle gaze fell upon the youth as she asked, "Young master, do you really not have confidence?" The youth lightly smiled, gently touching the young girl's cheek, which was smooth as jade. "Silly girl, I only said that I don't have 100% confidence. Don't worry, no matter what, nothing will happen to me. Even if I can't defeat him, I will still come out in one piece. I'm unwilling to leave my heir, after all." The young girl's willow-shaped eyebrows twitched and her clear eyes showed signs of tearing up. She flew into the youth's embrace, and with a voice that slightly sounded like she was in tears, she said, "Young master, if anything happens to you, heir will not live on alone." The young girl's words were like heavy hammers striking Duanling Tian's heart. His heart could not help but shiver in fear. Because he had experienced 2 lifetimes, he was able to tell that what she said was true without the slightest bit of falseness. In this moment, the strong-willed Duanling Tian, who would bleed but never cry, actually could not stop his eyes from becoming slightly wet. As his hands tightly embraced the young girl, he gently said, "Silly girl, don't you believe me?" The young girl nodded like a weeping beauty. "Heir is scared. Scared that young master will leave heir. If young master isn't here anymore, heir's life will have no meaning." Since the time Duanling Tian brought her back home and took care of her like family, she had already made a promise in her heart. This lifetime, she lived it only for the young master. Even if the young master marries and settles down one day and has his own wife and kids, she would still silently be by the young master's side, willing to be a servant or slave, serving him until she was old. Until the day she takes in her last breath of air. Her life would be for this man, and she would live it without any regrets. "All right, look at you. You look like a little panda." Helping the young girl wipe her tears, Duanling Tian smiled lightly as he said, "If my mom comes home and sees you like this, she will surely think I bullied you. It's not as if you don't know that in her heart, since you're her soon-to-be daughter-in-law, you have a higher status than me, her son." "Young master, you're so bad, making fun of heir again." The young girl embarrassedly left the youth's embrace, ran into her room, and closed the door behind her. "That girl is feeling shy." Duanling Tian shook his head and smiled, then his pupils emitted a never-before-seen staunchness. For heir, for his mother, and for himself, he would never let anything happen to himself. "Feng Chong, you will certainly die." Duanling Tian's pupils flickered with a cold light, emitting an unending coldness. Li family estate, 5th elder Li Ting's residence's courtyard. Li Ting entered his house with a weird expression. When he noticed his son, who was sitting there in a daze, he couldn't stop himself from jokingly scolding him. "How did you do it, kid? Li Ming actually fell twice by your hands." He was aware that Li Ming was injured by his son half a month ago, and he was curious about how it happened. When he went to apologize to the second elder, he heard Li Ming shouting, saying something about the side effects of the thunder flame pill abruptly arising. He, who was absolutely clear of his son's capabilities, naturally believed it to be true. But this time Li Ming took the initiative to challenge his son and actually got injured by his son again, causing him to feel astounded. He had just returned from Second Elder's residence. In the end, Li Ming once again said that it was the side effects of the thunder flame pill again and got scolded by Second Elder. On the way home, the more he thought about it, the more he felt like something was wrong. Although his son being able to consecutively defeat Li Ming brought honor to him, he had a feeling that this matter wasn't as simple as how it seemed on the surface. Xian, what's wrong? He quickly noticed that his son had a troubled expression, completely different from the complacent him back when he defeated Li Ming for this first time half a month ago. Why is he so weird today? Shouldn't he be happy that he defeated Li Ming? Li Ting couldn't stop himself from asking, Xian, do you have a problem in your mind? Why do you keep frowning? When Li Xian came back to his senses, he gritted his teeth as if he had finally made a huge decision. Then he lifted up his head to look towards Li Ting before saying, with a serious expression, Dad, I have something I want to tell you. But you can't let Ninth Elder know about this, or else Boss will surely not acknowledge me as a brother anymore. Li Ting frowned. What is it? Tell me. Li Xian hurriedly told him about what he overheard from the Fong family half a month ago. After laughing bitterly, he said, Boss didn't want me to tell anyone, so I kept it a secret all this time. But Boss will be going to the Fong family tomorrow. Although he has already broken through to the 7th level of the body tempering stage, how could he possibly be a match for Fong Chong, who has stepped into the core formation stage? Fong Chong is at the core formation stage? When he heard his son's story, Li Ting's face changed greatly as he loudly exclaimed, Kid, you even dared to conceal such an important matter. You really are extremely audacious. After I tell the patriarch, I'll come home and teach you a lesson. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Ting made haste to see the patriarch. After his dad left, Li Xian lowered his chubby head and muttered to himself, Boss, don't blame me. I'm just worried that something might go wrong. Even if you resent or hate me after this, I'll take it. At dusk, Patriarch Li Nanfeng ordered someone to come get Duan Ling Tian. This came as a surprise to him. In the Li family's audience hall, besides Li Nanfeng, Grand Elder Li Hua and 5th Elder Li Ting were there. His heart jerked as he understood what was going on. That damn fatty opened his mouth for sure. Greetings, Patriarch, Grand Elder, and 5th Elder. Duan Ling Tian bowed to the three of them. Duan Ling Tian, do you know why we called you here? Li Nanfeng's eyes narrowed as he slowly asked this. Patriarch called me here for the matter regarding Fong Chong stepping into the core formation stage, right? Duan Ling Tian went straight to the point. Kid, you have good natural talent and you're intelligent, but on this matter, don't you think you're being reckless? Li Nanfeng heaved a sigh. Duan Ling Tian was the treasure of the Li family. As long as he was here, the 6 treasures body tempering liquids supply would not end. The 6 treasures body tempering liquids' importance to the Li family was too high. Combined with the thunder flame pill, the cultivation of the children of all the Li family elders were advancing leaps and bounds. They were pulling far ahead of the younger generations of the Fong and Qin families. Duan Ling Tian smiled as he said, Patriarch, as a real man living in this world, there are things I should do and some things I shouldn't do. Tomorrow's matter is something I, Duan Ling Tian, promised upon in front of all of you. Just like the saying, a gentleman's promise is worth 1,000 gold coins. If Patriarch wants to persuade me to break my promise, I'm afraid I will be disappointing you. You. Li Nanfeng had a gloomy expression. Duan Ling Tian's words were incisive, without any openings in his argument, causing Li Nanfeng to really not know how to persuade him. Kid, you can't joke around with a matter like this. With your current cultivation and relying upon your swift sword, killing a 9th level body tempering martial artist is quite possible, but a 1st level core formation martial artist who possesses the strength of 2 ancient mammoths is far too much for you to handle. Grand Elder Li Hua was hoping Duan Ling Tian would give up on the idea of going to the Fong family estate tomorrow. Thank you for your concern, Grand Elder. Gratitude emerged on Duan Ling Tian's face. However, His eyes remained as staunch as before, without a bit of change. Forget it, forget it. After staring at Duan Ling Tian for a moment, Li Hua sighed. Patriarch, since this kid is determined, just let him go. Grand Elder. Li Nanfeng and Li Ting were both stupefied. Thank you, Grand Elder. Duan Ling Tian had a smile on his face and gratefully glanced at Li Hua, then he looked towards Li Nanfeng and Li Ting. Patriarch, Fifth Elder, before I go to the Feng family tomorrow, I hope you don't tell my mother about this. Duan Ling Tian is indebted to you. As soon as he finished speaking and saying his farewells, Duan Ling Tian turned around and left, unrestrained and free. Grand Elder, how could you agree to let him go? Li Ting had a bitter expression. He didn't know why Grand Elder would make such a decision. Li Nanfeng also looked towards Li Hua. He had the same question. Li Ting, you've seen this kid's attitude. Do you think we can actually stop him? Don't tell me you want to put him under house arrest? This is the path he chose, and everyone must be responsible for their own choices. Even he is not excluded. Li Hua stood up and prepared to leave. Before he left, he added, tomorrow, I will go with him. I will hide in the shadows for the sake of the Li family. So what if this old face of mine is put at risk? Dawn of the next day. The morning sun ascended into the eastern sky as all life in the world woke up. The youth was picked out some violet clothes and put on the sword sheath that was shaped like a belt. He grasped the violet meteorite flexible sword and pushed it into its sheath. It would be impossible for anyone who didn't know to realize with just a glance that his belt had a secret. The room door opened and the rays of sunlight entered. The youth narrowed his eyes as he stretched and yawned. Young master. A pleasing voice entered his ears. The youth's gaze fell upon the slim and graceful young girl in front of him. The young girl was wearing light green clothes. Matched with the violet leather belt on her waist, the colors didn't seem like they conflicted each other. The young girl's belt was the same as the youth's, but even more exquisite. It was inclined towards women. Noticing Duan Ling Tian's burning gaze, the young girl's delicate cheeks blushed. Young master, what are you looking at? Duan Ling Tian pretended to have a perverted expression. Of course it's my little beauty, Ku Er. Young master, you're making fun of Ku Er again. The young girl's face flushed from embarrassment. Then she asked, Young master, Madam and I have prepared breakfast for you. Hurry up and come have some. After saying this, she brought Duan Ling Tian to the dining table, which was filled with a sumptuous breakfast. Where's my mother? Duan Ling Tian inquired. Madam was summoned by the patriarch early in the morning. The young girl said, Ku Er, I reckon my mom won't be back anytime soon. We can eat first. Duan Ling Dian nodded as he informed Ku Er. His mother leaving was not a surprise to him. After eating their fill, they walked out of the house. Ku Er, when we get to the Feng family estate, go stand beside my mother. Do you understand? Yes, young master. Ku Er obediently nodded. On the way, the perfect couple attracted a long tail everywhere they passed. After leaving the Li family estate, they passed through the Li family marketplace and entered the Feng family marketplace before finally walking towards the Feng family estate. Today's marketplace was exceptionally bustling with noise and excitement. The streets were filled with a stream of people even at dawn, and even more people were standing on the sides as if they were waiting for something. Suddenly, these people, as if noticing something, all looked towards the distance. It's the Li family's Duan Ling Tian. I didn't think he would really dare to visit the Feng family. I told you this long ago. If Duan Ling Tian dared to kill Feng Quan, he would surely not be afraid of the Feng family and would definitely go. The Feng family's manager, Feng Chong, is not someone Feng Quan can compare to. The gap in strength between the two is over 1,000 miles long. Duan Ling Tian is too rash. As the couple made their way through the town, people from all three marketplaces of Fresh Breeze Town trailed behind them. The line went on from one end of the Feng family marketplace to its other end. It could be said to be a large movement. In addition, the number of people was still increasing. Finally, the youth and young girl arrived in front of the Feng family estate's main entrance. When they finally got there, The area outside of the Fong family estate was already swarming with people. After a moment, the crowd consciously opened up a path. The Li family members walked over. Everyone from the patriarch to all the elders, except for 7th elder Li Kuan, had come. Patriarch, elders. Duan Ling Tian didn't feel one bit surprised that Li Nanfeng and the elders had come. He walked up with the young girl beside him, and he bowed to them. The surrounding crowd could not help themselves from discussing in whispers. Looks like the Li family really values Duan Ling Tian. Even the patriarch came in person. Yeah, the Li family's patriarch came in person, and the Li family's elders are nearly all gathered. Even though this Duan Ling Tian is only a disciple with another surname, his status in the Li family is obviously extraordinary. Looks like the matter between Duan Ling Tian and Fang Chang today isn't purely a personal grievance anymore, but a fight between the Li family and the Fang family. After sending Ku Er off to be by his mother's side, Duan Ling Tian went alone to the front of the Fang family estate's main entrance. His voice sounded like dull lightning as he said, "The 3 months period is over. Fang family manager Fang Chang, do you dare to come out?" Duan Ling Tian shouted this in a loud voice at the main entrance of the Fang family estate. His imposing manner seemed to pierce through the sky. He was like an undefeatable war god. Why would I not dare? A group of people walked out from the Fang family estate. The person who followed at the back was the one that replied to Duan Ling Tian. It was none other than Fang Chang. In front of Fang Chang was the Fang family's patriarch, Fang Yi, and all the Fang family elders. There was an old man walking shoulder to shoulder with Fang Yi. Even Fang Yi emitted a heartfelt sense of respect towards the old man. It's the Fang family's grand elder. Who would have thought that from the Fang family's patriarch to all the elders, they're coming out at full strength? If the Li family's grand elder comes as well, it will be even livelier. Hearing the crowd's discussions, Duan Ling Tian glanced at the old man. The Fang family's grand elder looked at him with a seemingly tranquil gaze, but behind that tranquility was actually a hidden killing intent. As a strong-willed weapons specialist from the battlefield, he saw through it with just a glance. The Fang family members greeted the Li family members as soon as they walked out. Then the Li family members went to stand near the Li family crowd. Suddenly, the Fang family's grand elder looked off into the distance and indifferently said, "Li Hua, since you've come, why were you hiding in a corner? Geezer Fang, looks like your cultivation has improved again." Just when everyone was puzzled, an aged figure walked out from within the crowd. It was indeed the Li family's grand elder, Li Hua. Grand elder. The Li family members hurriedly bowed to Li Hua. Grand elder. Seeing Li Hua here was slightly unexpected, even to Duan Ling Tian. The surrounding spectators' gazes all lit up. Such a scene was something they would not forget in their entire lives. They all felt coming here was worth it, as they would be able to brag about it once they got home. Haha, I didn't expect both grand elders to come personally. Chun-Li brought his daughter here to join in as well. Just at this moment, the crowd split apart to form a path. The Qin family's patriarch, Chun-Li, and Chun Mei slowly walked over. They moved to stand at the side once they bowed to the Li families and the Fang family's grand elders. Duan Ling Tian noticed that Qin Mei had a hint of concern in her eyes when she looked at him. He couldn't help but be stupefied by this. This girl couldn't have really fallen for me, right? Fang Chang. Standing on the empty space in front of the Fang family estate main door, Duan Ling Tian gazed fixedly at Fang Chang from afar. His voice was cold and indifferent. Fang Chang walked out and stood facing Duan Ling Tian. First level of the core formation stage. Fang Chang actually broke through to the core formation stage, exclaimed the Li family's second elder when his gaze fell upon Fang Chang. Everyone besides the Fang family members, Li Nanfeng, Grand Elder Li Hua, and 5th Elder Li Ting couldn't help but be moved. The Li family members' expressions changed greatly, while the other people had expressions of astonishment. The information that was unveiled before their eyes was something that completely exceeded their expectations. The Fang family's manager broke through to the core formation stage. The Fang family concealed it so well. Such shocking news was actually wrapped up so tightly. The Fong family intentionally concealed the news of Fong Chong breaking through. They were probably waiting for this moment. The surrounding crowd discussed in succession. They all looked at Duan Ling Tian with eyes filled with pity. Li Ro's expression also changed greatly. Never would she have thought that Fong Chong would have reached the core formation stage. She immediately walked out and said to Duan Ling Tian in a low voice, "Tian, come back home with Mom. We'll just leave today's matter as it is." Before Duan Ling Tian could even reply, the Fong family's patriarch, Fong Yi, laughed loudly. "Ninth elder, it was your son who spoke such heroic words that day. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word? A Li family member wouldn't run before a battle, right?" Li Ro ignored Fong Yi. She was preparing to take Duan Ling Tian home. As far as she was concerned, her son still had a chance at victory against a 9th-level body tempering stage Fong Chong. But against a 1st-level core formation Fong Chong, her son had no chance at all. "Ninth elder, please don't make it hard on me." An elder of the Fong family walked out and stood between Li Ro and Duan Ling Tian, preventing her from proceeding further. The other elders of the Fong family also looked fiercely at the Li family elders, causing them to be unable to interfere in the matter. The Fong family was prepared. "Let me see who can stop me." Li Ro grasped her sheathed fine steel sword tightly. As long as she executed her sword-drawing arts, she was confident in her ability to kill the Fong family elder in front of her with a single strike. But once she performs this strike, it would mean war between the Fong family and the Li family, and it wouldn't stop until one side was completely wiped out. "Mom." Just at this moment, Duan Ling Tian finally spoke. He gave his mother gaze that said, "Be at ease." Li Ro understood the meaning of her son's gaze. After hesitating for a moment, she took in a deep breath and her hand that was gripping the sword sheath slightly loosened. But in her heart, she had already made a decision. If her son wasn't a match for Fong Chong and his life was in danger, even if it meant spilling the blood of the Fong family, she would still protect her son. For her son, she was willing to be enemies with the entire world. "Dad, what should we do?" Fong Chong actually broke through to the core formation stage. It's impossible for Duan Ling Tian to be his match. Chen Mei'er had an expression of worry as she looked towards her father. "Dad, please help him." Chun-Li had a bitter smile. "Mei'er, I'm bound to only be a spectator for today's matter. Dad is powerless." Chun Meier's expression slightly changed. Lightly biting her lips, she looked at Duan Ling Tian from afar with an expression full of worry. In her heart, she said to herself, "You bad guy, nothing better happened to you. I still haven't taken revenge yet." "Young master." Ku'er's face was pale. She never would have thought that the young master's opponent had stepped into the core formation stage. Her delicate, jade-like hands were already upon the violet meteorite flexible sword on her waist. She was prepared to draw her sword at any moment. "Boss, good luck." The little fatty was in the crowd looking at Duan Ling Tian from afar. His expression extremely was serious. Fong Chong gazed at Duan Ling Tian with a slightly shocked expression. "Duan Ling Tian, I didn't think you would reach the 7th level of the body tempering stage in only 3 months, but you will certainly die by my hand today, and I will take revenge for my son with my own 2 hands." Duan Ling Tian smiled indifferently. "Talking big, huh? Aren't you afraid you'll hurt your tongue?" Fong Chong smiled coldly. "Duan Ling Tian, isn't your sword your most formidable weapon? Why didn't you bring it with you today? Don't tell me you think that I, Fong Chong, am not worthy of you using your sword? I didn't expect you to be such an understanding person." Duan Ling Tian smiled widely. His smile was as bright as the sun. "You're courting death." Fong Chong's gaze turned cold. The veins in his forehead started bulging, and the fingers of each of his hands came together as origin energy suffused between them. At the same time, above his head, the forces of heaven and earth trembled and slowly emerged into 2 balls of white mist. They would develop into 2 ancient mammoth silhouettes at any moment.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.